as you note, this team's playing very well, and there are moments that let you down.
Yeah.
And we've seen this. We saw this last year as well. How do you fix something like that?
Yeah, again, we saw it at stretches. We fixed it last year because it was happening in the middle third of the season, I thought a little bit. And then as the season started to push down the final stretch, I thought we locked down a lot of that stuff. We were more efficient, and then we went on a stretch of not losing games for a while. So again, I think that's part of it. It's we've got some new guys in. You got new right back who's only played his second game. Martin and Jalen are a relatively fresh combination, so it's not a boatload of continuity in some of those spots. So I think that can lead sometimes to just misreads or slight breakdowns. Right now we have a goalkeeper who hasn't played a ton of matches behind the group, and so again, there's just little gaps where I think guys are getting used to each other, getting used to their roles, getting used to their reads and connections, things like that, which might lead into moments of where there's disconnect. And I feel like, through the large stretches of the game, we kept them very much at bay. But the first goal comes when we kind of overplay a pressure. The ball comes off of one side to the other side. That's usually a cue for us to just kind of hold and stay, and we get extended trying to still get pressure to the ball. And then they're able to get access with Lodero, who's a crafty player, in behind our back line, and then it becomes an issue. But we could have just stayed out of that. I think, again, with communication, maybe with a more cohesive group, we just stay and we leave that ball in front of us and we live to fight another day. The second one for me is a little bit unfortunate because we have it where we're in full control. When the player checks back, he steps on Lucas, which then eliminates one of our defenders out of the play. Again, we get a little drawn out of our defensive midfield position, and then it's how we manage that situation. For me, and I said to JK, it's when he's got to save. It's from distance. It's not in the corner. That can help us too in that situation. So, for me, those were two big instances, and we were in good control of the game through much of those stretches. Outside of that instances, they had a few possessions, but nothing that came dangerous out of those. But outside of that, we had a lot of control. So how do you do it? Continuity. Again, continuing to get guys back, guys working together, getting on the same page with some of the reads in some of these situations will help do that. But it's some of these things we need a break too a little bit. You need a little this or a little that. A ball that is getting blocked to deflect and find the goal instead of hit somebody. You need maybe a handball call to go. You just need something again that when you're in this grind and you're building your group back up, you need a little something to fall your way, and we've had very little fall our way in this stretch. Even though again, I think we've played well. Our expected goals has been higher than our opposition in each of the last 3 games, and I think we've had significantly better chances than our opposition in most of these games. So again, efficiency and execution.
Greg, how's Javi? He looked good out there.
Yeah.
Is he ready to go to Houston?
Good. Yeah. He's ready to go to Houston. It's now it's just building up his match minutes, 11v11, and covering territory, repetition. Playing for 5 minutes is different than playing for 90 minutes. So it's just doing some of that. But he looks sharp. He looks good. Getting repetitions in front of goal now because when you have a hamstring injury, you can't do a lot of things obviously in front of goal and at high intensity and high speed. So now it's just repetition and getting him ready. But he's certainly he'll train full all week. He's trained partially some of last sessions, so he's gotten enough under his belt and his fitness level is good. So now it's just again match fitness.
How's the group in terms of like the internal atmosphere and what's the speech like? The things that you say to the group to keep the spirits high, even though it's been kind of like a rough start.
Yeah, again, I think the group very much recognizes their control of games, especially over the last 3. The opportunities that are created. Sometimes we want to have more opportunities, but I think this game we had a lot of opportunities. It was 20-something to 30 shots roughly. We had a boatload of crosses. We had a lot of attempts from sort of that mid-range. We had a one-on-one with the goalkeeper essentially on a slip-through. We hit the bar twice in the game before. So again, I don't think there's not a lot of convincing in terms of what we're doing. What it is an understanding of execution now. And we were in this stretch last year where we weren't getting the first goal. We were giving up the first goal, and teams when we give up the first goal, teams stay very, very compact and sit very low. I mean, there was times, and even in the first half, when Seattle had all 10 or 11 guys within 25 or 30 yards of their goal, just protecting their goal. And some of that is because they have a 1-0 lead and they're protecting something. If it can stay 0-0 or we can get the first goal, that will open up spaces. The second, the third for me will come. So again, it's not convincing them about how we're playing. It's just making sure that we keep working towards the process of executing better and key moments of the game, tightening up a few things defensively, but that's it. But every team has moments through the course of a season. We're trying to, like I said, I've said this many times, we're trying to get guys in, we're trying to build our group, we're trying to get 2 DPs off the injured list, we're trying to bring in 3 new players from international service. I mean, you could see a very different group in 2 to 3 weeks than what you've seen over the last 2 to 3 weeks. But what we've done in this stretch is we've given a young man like Jalen 5 matches under his belt. That's where he's proven he can play in this league, and he's going to be ready for the big games that are in the future. We've been able to give other guys repetition. We've been able to get Preston in some games to see what he's going to. We've been able to provide some depth, whether we like it or not, to some guys who are going to play a role in our season, and we've been able to do so early in the season. So these things for me pay off, even though they feel like it's not at the moment. These things for me pay off over the course of a long MLS season. So.
Where's Coach right now in terms of where he is in his game?
Good. Look, I think he came in the other day and he looked active and he looked sharp. Again, he looked quick, he's lean, a lot of these things, his quality is there. So now it's just the translation of his quality into the final product that we need. Our ask for him is to get to the end line a little bit more, get inside the box a little bit more, put some stress on back lines. We already know he's got an incredible pass and a great shot. Now it's just, again, putting more stress on back lines and final actions. And I think, part of that is he's getting his fitness level right. He's more dynamic. When he came in, his meters per minute were really high, which is a sign of his work rate inside of those 20 or 30 minutes. We got to get that to be 60 minutes and then get to be 90 minutes. And then his quality can impact games. So it's just continuing to build that up.
In the preseason, there was thought of, a lot's going to depend on how dedicated he is to the project. Do you feel like he's fully committed?
Yeah, for me, he's bought in. He's worked incredibly hard since having to go out for his injury. Like I said, his fitness, he's lean. He's leaner than he ever was last year. In terms of the change of direction, sprinting, he looks sharper than at times than we saw last year. I thought his commitment was proven when he came onto the field again the other night. I really felt like he was dynamic and sharp, chased back defensively, transition to press, all those kinds of things. So, again, for me and a guy like Douglas, all the qualities are there. All the qualities are there to be an impact player in our league. And now it's, again, to get him fit, to get him integrated into the group, and for him to continue to build and just impacting games in the final actions. But his quality is not to be denied.
The status of Ade?
He is just picking up his passport today or tomorrow, and he'll probably fly and meet us in Houston. I doubt that he would be available for Houston, but I want him in the group and I want him to experience an MLS game and see what it's all like and take it all in so that he hits the ground running as we get back here from Houston next week.
What do you like about him and how does he think he fits into this puzzle here?
Very good soccer player, tenacious defender, good size, good in terms of he can attack off of the left side. He's got a nice left foot. We can do different things with him. He can attack being a wide player. He can tuck inside. He's played some defensive midfield is with him, so he kind of understands that counter-pressing position and being an inside in a possession type of a game. He's a big enough kid at nearly 6 feet or 6 feet tall that you can use him as kind of in a 3 and a build, and he gives you some size and presence on set pieces, but also in some of those actions. So he's a competitor. He's a fighter. Like he wants to get into challenges. He wants to recover balls. He gives us maybe a little bit of extra stability on the defensive side. And he's a young man with a really bright future who's continuing to grow in both physically but also in his game. But we think he's a little different than Ra. Ra is an attacker turned defender, and he's a little bit more of a defender who can attack, and so it's a little bit of a different profile in the position.
Hey, Greg, just wanted to ask, saw Raheem and Sega training on their own. What's that?
Yes, Sega was just having some some growing and hip sort of tightness in the last week, and so he trained on Monday, but it started to flare up again. So we just took a step back. So we're just trying to make sure that as he moves forward, that we get that calmed down. But he's doing okay. Rod turned the ankle a little bit yesterday, so just took a step back today, but he was sprinting and doing all the things he needs to do. He'll integrate back in the team tomorrow.
I wanted to ask about the goalkeeper Mitrovic you guys added last week. What was one of the reasons why did you guys add him to the team?
Yeah, look, he's a keeper we've been watching for months, and really we like his profile, his game. You know, we've been talking a lot around here about a young who's the next young and up and coming keeper in this. We have some kids in the academy alike, but they're not quite ready to be the number 3 guy, the guy who can give us some flexibility within our top 3 goalkeepers. We want to get JK games, you know, but in order to get JK games, you have to know who the other guy is that's going to back up or potentially start or whatever. So in order to do that, you got to have 3 guys that you really trust and can call upon at any time to be able to make sure all 3 of them are getting what they need on any given weekend. And so this gives us that opportunity, and he's a super motivated player from what I see, and we have seen him live. He's got a personality of a goalkeeper. He gets upset when you give up easy chances. He's got some of that presence and expectation that I like in the goalkeeper that, you know, we want to invest some time and energy on.
Is Bond's injury trending longer than 2 to 4
No,
weeks?
not really. It's for me and still even for John. The question is, there's a healing time period of which you can't do a whole lot, and then when that time period ends to now you go back to diving and playing and doing all the things of a goalkeeper, is what does that window of time look like? And is that whole process 4 weeks, or is that 3-4 weeks of healing plus 2 or 3 weeks? I'm not really sure yet. I think that's all going to be depending on how well he heals, but they're happy with his progress so far. And so now it'll be a transitioning, like I said, out of the healing process to the return to play process, and what does that timeline look like? So nothing tells us right now that it's going to be any longer, but he also hasn't started diving around and doing a lot of things with that shoulder yet.
Greg, on a different topic really quick, when it comes to the supporters group, I know there's a meeting coming up in terms of what's the front office stance, and if there's something that weighs in any way, considering that the next home game is El Tráfico.
I don't quite know where all of the process is. My attention, quite frankly, is just within the group and the team and preparing our guys. We have things in our process that we're trying to continue to improve upon, so we're staying focused on that. You know, we've appreciated all the fans who've been in the building and the support that we've gotten. I felt like when the energy picked up in the game from our group, then the energy in the stadium picked up as well the other night. So, you know, some of this is us continuing to provide that spark on the field, and then the spark from the stadium will continue to come. And look, we want anyone and everyone who wants to be in the building and be as loud as possible. It's motivating for the group, and so, you know, wherever we are in that process is hopefully optimistic that we might be able to get somewhere. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.